Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today our group will be present about the HACCP plan presentation. Our group choose Salman Cookies Enterprise as our company for this HACCP plan.
Ahmad Salman bin Muhammad Yusof. So in this section, we will present about company profile. So in this slide, you already show here our company logo, Salman Cookies right there, very cute, and the address of our company. We are in Pulau Indah, Selangor. Actually, our company is already established since March 2015. Our company is more focusing only on cookies production. In the coming early days, the cookies only distributes only local. We go to the house to sell our products. It was first hot baked first on launch in Shah Alam, Selangor. Our company is producing the food by the food safety policy that has been published by Malaysian law. Is it Food Act 1983 and also Food Regulation 1985. And also we also develop the system that following the national system. That's it. Hazard and critical control point, or we call it HACCP. By the framework for safety management system. So in order to achieve what we want, what the goal is, we define the problem and the threats, and they can come in our factory, in our system, and also we provide the information to our workers and supplier, and checking if they have any problem that can make a threat to our cookies.
I am going to talk about the product description for our company, which is the Salman Cookies Enterprise. So our product is called the chocolate chip cookies. Okay, so for the ingredients, we have chocolate chips, vanilla, baking soda, egg, white sugar, brown sugar, butter, wheat, and salt. Next is the sensitive raw materials. For the sensitive raw materials, we have wheat and egg. So this is important to tell our customers so that we can so that the customers will know that in our products there are some sensitive raw materials that can make them have allergic reactions. So next is the intended use and customer. So our cookie products is safe for public consumption, and it is safe to consume for all ages. It is also called a ready-to-eat product, which means it can be eaten at any time. So next for storage, we can keep it in a cool and dry place. So for the shelf life, our cookies can be stored at room temperature for 2 to 3 weeks or 2 months in the refrigerator. Another thing, cookies retain their quality when stored in the freezer for 8 to 12 months. So lastly is the traceability code. So for the traceability code, this is important so that for example, if we need to call back our products, we can use the information of the traceability code. So in our products, the traceability codes are the date of expiry, month of the product was manufactured, and the storage code. That's all.
Next, we proceed to our HACCP team members of Salman Cookies Enterprise. The first one we have Ahmad Al-IHSAN bin Al-AZMI, which is our managing director. The second is Ahmad Salman bin Yusuf, our human resources executive or HR executive. The third is our important person in this company, which is halal executive Ahmad WAFIE bin YUSLI. The fourth we have Muhammad AIMAN bin HAMZAH, our production sales and marketing manager. And the last but not least, Muhammad REDZUAN bin AZHAR will be carry out the responsibilities for the quality control manager or QC manager. So
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad bin Al-AZMI, and now I will continue the presentation by explaining the process flow chart, which is very important because if there is a slight error in this part, it will damage the entire production operation of Salman Cookies products. There are 16 processes that will be carried out in Salman Cookies, and I will explain one by one. The first one is a receiving, which is divided into 3 different parts. The first is a refrigerated ingredient, shelf-stable ingredient, and the last is a packaging and labels. The first of which is refrigerated ingredient, which has as many 2 raw materials received, namely butter up to 15 pounds and eggs up to 20 pounds in the pre-packed bags. Then the second category is the shelf-stable ingredient, where Salman Cookies receiving 15 pounds of flour, 25 pounds of chocolate chip, 15 pounds of white sugar, 25 pounds of brown sugar, 25 pounds of salt, 25 pounds of baking soda, and the last one is a vanilla, which is 1 gallon jugs. And the last fraction of receiving, which is packaging and receiving, which is Salman Cookies will receive as many 20 cookies plastic trays, plastic wrap, and cardboard boxes are received in the abundance. The next process is related to storage, which is the same as the receiving process, which is divided into 3 groups with different storage method, namely refrigerated ingredient, shelf-stable ingredient, and packaging. The first one, we have a refrigerated ingredient, butter, and pasteurized eggs are stored immediately after receipt in a cooler that is kept under the 48 Fahrenheit and used in a first in first out method based on code date. And next is the last storage process, which is in the item with the least risk, which is related to the packaging and labeling, where plastic trays, plastic wrap, and cardboard boxes are stored in the dry storage room. Now we move on to the step number 7, which is about mixing, which is one of the key elements in this process flow. Ingredients are measured and combined in the mixing area with a kettle mixer within 15 minutes. All of the ingredients have been properly combined. The temperature of the dough is measured after mixing, and the dough is transferred to the former from mixing bowls that have been brought there. After production, bowls and mixing blades are transferred to the section where utensils are cleaned. After cleaning, bowls and mixing blades are visually inspected for sign or damage or missing components. Okay, now the next step is a process called forming, and it has been identified as one of our critical control point in the manufacture of Salman Cookies product, because it is related to the equipment used, and if it has damage or impurities, that can change the safety of our products. This process has been given serious consideration. We have planned to correction action for this CCP if it occurs by performing periodic inspection and replacing by any forming tools that have rusted or damage problem. The next process is a freezing, where the dough that has been formed will be placed through a liquid nitrogen flash freezer set at negative 120 Fahrenheit, where they stay for 5 minutes. Okay, now the 10th step is racking, where the dough rounds are placed on metal trays in 4 rows of 5, and 10 metal trays are placed on each rack before baking. After racking, the 11th step is related to baking, which has been labeled as our critical control point number 2, which has the risk of damaging the product if not given the proper attention. This process is carried out with a full rack are placed on the rotating platform, 3 rotation per minute in walk-in oven, and cooked for 30 minutes at 350 Fahrenheit before being removed. Oven temperature is taken using a thermometer and monitor on an exterior temperature display. The most sensitive equipment in this process is the thermometer, because that tool will determine the temperature of the oven used. So we have used corrective action, which is to review the thermometer log periodically, which is every 7 days, and ensure the accuracy of the thermometer temperature by providing a second thermometer to ensure the thermometer given is the most accurate temperature. Okay, now we move to the next step, which is cooling, where cooking racks are removed from the oven for 10 minutes after baking, is complete and cooled to below 18 Fahrenheit within an hour of removal. And the next step is a metal detection, which is the 13th step and Salman Cookies' final critical control point in the process flowchart. Because if damage occurs on the metal detection machine, the production site will fail to detect any metal in our product, and making our product very dangerous to consume. The next step to the 14th is packaging. After the metal detection process, where this packaging process is carried out with rack of cool cookies are transport to the racking area and manually transferred onto plastic trays, which are then wrapped in plastic wrap and sealed. Trays are then put into outer cardboard packing, and after that, we go to the 15th process, which is labeling, where lot information such as brand wrapping, total calories, halal, and HACCP emblem is printed on each sealed package. And the last process is storing, that is which spec goods will be gathered and stored according to the FIFO order, the goods. Now, I will continue the presentation with the related to hazard analysis worksheet, where there are 9 items in total, and the first raw material is an egg that has all 3 potential hazards, which is biological, chemical, and physical. Proof that eggs are raw material that is very sensitive and requires a close care. These eggs are likely to be affected by salmonella bacteria that often occur in nutshell eggs, and it is something that is quite difficult to avoid. It has made the severity and likelihood for this to happen to be high because eggs need careful care. So we have found a way to solve this problem with a cooked eggs until both the yolk and white are firm. This happened at internal temperature of 116 Fahrenheit and or 71 Celsius or hotter because at high temperature, the salmonella bacteria will be destroyed immediately. Next, these eggs are also exposed to chemical hazard which involve the cleaning agents used when cleaning these eggs from any fish or dead. This is because if the washing agent is not rinsed carefully and clean, it will change the safety of the food. However, the egg is placed under insignificant hazard and it's quite difficult to see this problem occur because the eggs are usually rinsed clean according to the batch washing and the egg is not placed under sensitive material. The last thing is that egg has a physical hazard. This is quite clear which is faces and feathers on the surface of the egg and it will damage the hygiene of the food if it's not cleaned properly. And it has the same level as biological hazard where this physical hazard is also very dangerous and is likely to occur regularly if no measures are taken. Among the corrective action taken for this problem is using SOP when cleaning the eggs. Use a scrubber to remove the traces of faces and visual observation to make sure that the egg is clean, and this physical hazard once again place the egg as a sensitive raw material. The next raw material is flour, which has a slight difference with eggs. That is, flour is not exposed to the biological and chemical hazard. It is only exposed to physical hazard, which is what happens if there are foreign substances included in the flour used to make a biscuit. This is because cases related to foreign matter in flour have happened in other factories as a result of the grinding machine used not working properly. It can cause a significant hazard to our product because it can change the taste and texture of our final product. And the most effective way to overcome it we have found by checking the flour by making a filter prevents any foreign material, to prevent any foreign material. The last raw material I will present is related to butter, which is contain potential hazard, biological hazard and physical hazard. For the biological hazard, this butter has problems like eggs with the reproduction of bad microorganisms, namely salmonella in dairy products, and it has been placed under significant hazard because can make the product damage if this happen, because salmonella will often happen and will have a bad effect on the product and the customer who consume it. Among the corrective action that can be conclude is bake the cookies at the 375 Fahrenheit for 17 minutes or more, so salmonella and any other pathogens will be destroyed. And it is a sensitive raw material and requires careful observation. Next, butter will also lead to a physical hazard where the surface of the butter is at risk of being contaminated by dust as a result of the supplier's weakness in the handling the product. And this has made the butter in the significant hazard category, which will have a bad effect on the final product.
Okay, next we can proceed with the hazard analysis worksheet for raw materials and packaging materials. So based on the table, we can see that the raw material salt has no biological hazard, no chemical hazard and no physical hazards. This is also the same case for the raw material baking soda, which the raw material baking soda also do not have any biological, chemical and physical hazards. But for the vanilla raw materials, we analyze that the vanilla has no biological hazard, no physical hazard, but it has chemical hazard. So we analyze that the chemical hazard that is in the vanilla is the pesticide residues that are still present in the material. So our justification for the pesticide in the vanilla is that the pesticides are used in the field for the pest or insect control. So we conclude that for the raw material vanilla, it is a significant hazard. So how do we control the pesticide in vanilla? So we use the pesticide analysis GCMS to check the presence of pesticides.
So we go to the next romance, chocolate chip. So chocolate chip have a microbiological hazard. It comes from the contaminated with salmonella. This is a very sensitive formats, and we must ensure the temperature is really suitable at 65 temperature. So this is one of our sensitive formats. Next, we go to the sugar. Sugar can be contaminated by physical contact. It can be such as metal. So we must do a regular checkout for this item. And the next item is our packaging. So it can be contaminated with rusty packaging, and it can make the quality lower. So in order to fix that, we use the high quality packaging and make the checkout.
Alright, so moving on to the hazard analysis in the process step. The first step in our company is receiving. This step has a physical hazard and it is not a significant hazard. Other than that, this receiving process step also has a biological hazard and it is a significant hazard. Next, for the second step is storing. This storing step has a microbiological hazard and it is not a significant hazard. So for this both of this step, it is not our critical control point, which is CCP. So the third process step for Salman Cookies Enterprise is mixing. This step has a physical hazard and it is a significant hazard. And then this step also has a microbiological hazard and it is also a significant hazard. For information, this mixing is not our critical control point. And the fourth step for Salman Cookies Enterprise is forming step. So this step has a physical hazards and it is a significant hazard. And also this step have a microbiological hazard and it is a significant hazard. For this forming step, it is one of the our critical control points for this Salman Cookies Enterprise company.
So we go to the next process step, freezing. So freezing can have physical hazard. There is no chemical. There is no microbial hazard also. Physical hazard can be contaminated during the process, and it can be solved by checking the trail. Is that ensure that the process inspection was be met. And the next, we go to the process step of racking. So for racking, there is no hazard, physical, chemical, and also microbiological. So we go to the next process step, baking. So baking have microbiological hazard. It do not have physical or chemical, just microbiological. It can contaminated with salmonella. So this pathogen actually can survive in improper temperature, distribution and time, and temperature application. Thus, we must checking the exactly temperature must be exactly 95 Celsius, which is all the bacteria and virus died. And the baking is one of our CCP. And next we go to the cooling. So cooling have physical hazard. It can contaminate with such foreign matters such as dust and insects. This happen because improper of practice for our worker. If it happen, we is supposed to come to committed batch and record of each batch that have completed the cooling process. And this is not our CCP.
Alright, so for the next process step, which is metal detection. For the metal detection, we have a physical hazard, which for the inclusion, it was caused by the hard and sharp object that was traced or that was detected inside the packaging or inside the product during the manufacturing process. And yes, it was a significant hazard, and it is our third critical control point for our company. So the next process step, which is packaging. For the packaging process, we have two hazard, which is physical hazard and microbiological hazard. For the physical hazard, the inclusion is caused by the improper personal hygiene by our workers, which is improper grooming and also improper packaging process that was done by our employees, and it was not a significant hazard. And for the microbiological hazard, the inclusion is due to the leakage of the packaging during the packaging process, and also the contamination that was happened during the packaging process, and it was not a significant hazard for our company. Thus, for the packaging was not the CCP for our company hazard analysis worksheet. And for the next process step, which is labeling. For the labeling, we doesn't have any hazard, which is no physical, chemical, and microbiological hazard. So for our last process step, which is storage, it has two hazard, which is physical and microbiological hazard. For the physical hazard, the inclusion is not holding goods properly, which is we hold the goods without a pallet, and stacking the goods without a proper stack process, which is FIFO, first in first out. So it will cause a physical hazard to the product itself, where the product might be damaged, and it was not a significant hazard for our process step. For the next, which is a microbiological hazard, it was caused by the presence of the insects or rodents during the storage session, where the storage room might have any rodents or the presence of the insects that might contaminate with the product or with the good itself. Thus, for this hazard, it is not a significant hazard, but to remain both hazard to be controlled, a visual inspection and also a proper pest control must be done properly by our employees in order to eliminate both hazard.
Next, I will explain about the HACCP plan summary, which is divided into three, which involve process forming, baking, and metal detection. The first is related to the forming, where the significant hazard is related to biological pathogens such as salmonella that will damage the product. Critical limit for process forming, what needs to be noted is the dough portion. If it's too much or too little, it will make salmonella grow more, and the dough must be dough portion which is under the 28 grams. And through this critical control point, it has been determined how to monitor the matter in an effective way. There is the quality assurance staff must be ensured that the measurement of the dough is according to the proper scheme. There is check away of 3 individual dough portion using a calibrated scale before baking, and it must be done for each batch of dough that is released. This has helped us identify the appropriate corrective action, which is whole batch, and evaluate, rework, or discard, and also recalibrate the dough scale or fixed former if necessary.
Alright, for the next process step, which is for Salman Cookies Enterprise, we have a baking process step, where it was a second CCP for our company. For the CCP, it has a biological hazard, which is the presence of vegetative pathogens such as salmonella. And in order to eliminate this hazard, the time and the temperature must be monitored and must be checked properly. So for the temperature of the oven should be checked using the thermometer each batch during the baking process. And also for the time, the time of the baking session, which is before, during, and after baking session, must be recorded, and it should be done by continuously, and must be done for every batch of the baking product. And also this must be done by the quality assurance technician or any employee that has been going the training itself about the baking session. And also if there's any corrective action that should be done, the cookies batch that was being cooked must be hold, and also it must be checked, such as the cookies can be re-evaluated or being reworked or being baked again, or it must be discarded from the or the batch must be discarded from the process itself. And also the employees must determine the root cause of the problem itself, so it might not happen for the next batch of the baking process. And this must be reviewed or must be verified every 7 days, which is every week. And also it must be recorded in the logbook, and also must be signed by the qualified employee, which is the QC or the QA operator itself. Alright, for the last CCP, which is CCP number 3 for Salman Cookies Enterprise, which is metal detection. this process is considered as a CCP because it might contain a physical hazard, which is any missing metal parts that might contain inside the product itself. So it must be ensured that there is no broken or missing metal parts either from the equipment or the machine inside the product, and the presence of this part or metal part must be checked using the metal detection machine, and also using a visual inspection throughout the equipment and the machine. So any metal part that was checked that might be missing from the part itself can be traced using the metal detection machine, and also by a visual inspection by the employee. And it must be done before starting the operation, and also at the end of the operation session of each days. And this must be conducted by the employees in the production section. So all the employees in the production section must conduct this inspection in order to eliminate any metal hazard inside the product itself. So as for the corrective action, if there's any corrective action that must be taken, all the product must be hold, which is all the good that was going the metal detection process must be hold. Either it must be discard from the storage room or from the product batch, or it can be checked and can be eliminate the hazard itself, which is the presence of the metal itself from the product can be eliminated. If it was not, it must be destroyed because it might contain harms to the consumers, either the workers or anyone that might consume the product. So it must be labeled and separate from the batch, and also destroyed as soon as possible. And this must be reviewed and monitored and also verified by 1 week or every week itself, and also must be recorded throughout the logbook, and will be signed and verified by the quality assurance or the quality check operators itself. So in conclusion, we can see that the HACCP system, which is the Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point system, is important and crucial for our company, as it helps our business to grow perfectly, and also it helps our company to trace and eliminate any hazard that might give harm or contain inside our production section and inside our company itself. So this HACCP system covers so many aspects, such as the food safety aspect, the product safety aspect, the customer safety, the consumer safety, and also it covers from the beginning until the end of the process of the product manufacturing itself. And not to be mentioned that the HACCP system also help to boost our customer confidence on buying our product, as this system that is well recognized by the world, and also the system helps the consumer to be more confident on buying our product, as all the hazard has been eliminated with the presence of the system itself. And this also was a very important system, and I would suggest to other companies to bring this system inside their company and apply on the production section, as the standard was a very good standard and was regulated accordingly by our local authority, and also in our standard that was used in Malaysia itself. And for the risk that was contained inside the production section can be eliminated using this HACCP system. And we can guarantee that the HACCP system give a very important point, as it controls the critical control point and also control the hazard that presents inside our production section. And it also helps us to establish any corrective action and any step that is necessary and crucial and also important for our company to take care of in order to eliminate those hazard and also those unwanted things that can be happen in our production section, and also that can happen to our product itself, because we must ensure that the product that we sell to our customer that was present in the market was safe and might not contain any hazard, in order to ensure that our human well-being are being taken care of very goodly. So I guess that's all from us. Thank you for listening. Have a good day. Enjoy.